Hey everyone, this is your friendly neighborhood world film geek, Albert Valentin. Welcome to the first installment of the Ladies of Horror special for Women's History Month. And I am pleased to announce we have a very special guest today. She is a World Film Geek Hall of Famer, class of 2021. She is one of South Africa's best known actresses today. Her name is Reine Swart, and she started out in many TV and films such as The Probe. Her horror breakout role, I think, came in The Lullaby. But since then, she's been in Z Nation, The Empty Man, Triggered. She even wrote and directed her first film, The Hex, and she actually is co-wrote an upcoming horror film. So let's welcome Reina to the podcast. How you doing, Reina?
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Albert. It's always such a pleasure, and I love listening to your podcasts. But there are so many, so you have to tell me which ones I should listen to because you're just so busy, which is really amazing. So you're actually the guru on horror films, much more than I am.
That's fun. That's funny. I do. Well, I started something in December where every Friday I talk about an underrated B movie or like a big movie that should get more love. So I call it movies that need more love. So I started doing that. So every Friday you can check that out at 9 a.m. on the podcast.
Awesome.
Yep. And last year I talked to Cameron Scott, your co-star from Triggered. We talked about Ring of Beasts and some other stuff, and he had many great things to say about you. So that was a lot of fun.
Oh, he's such a good person. He's really amazing. He's lovely to work with, and he's such a sweet young but also very mature person because he's young,
Yeah.
but he's mature for his age. And yeah, it was absolutely, we learned so much from him, all of us, and I just had so much fun and Triggered. Everyone, all of those cast members are my friends now because they're amazing.
Oh yeah, Triggered, in my opinion, had one of the best ensemble casts ever, because when it comes to ensemble casts, you have to have that chemistry together. And I mentioned this when we talked in November of 2020. I'm like, if the chemistry is not there, it's not going to work. The movie's not going to do as well. But this was one of my favorite films of the year. You guys bonded so much outside.
Yeah, and interesting enough, Cameron was the one who said, okay, let's go do laser tag, let's do this, in between shoots and everything. And it was tough because it was all night shoots, like we've already talked. And I'm really excited to see what he's going to do in his career. He's obviously done big Netflix movies like Kissing Booth 3, and yeah, I'm excited to see what he does.
And he said that you were the one that gave him the idea of doing make the mask for the Ring of Beasts. Like, he gave you the credit for that.
Oh,
he came up with the idea, and he's like, why don't you, and you're the one who said, why don't you make the mask and do it? And he did it. And he showed me the mask, and I was blown away. Like, even though I saw the film, when he actually lifted it up and showed me, I was like, whoa. Now I was like, that is a sick looking mask. And
yeah, that's a legit looking, like, kind of like a hyena teeth. It's a very gruesome little mask, but I think it's really good quality. No, he did a great job on his film Ring of Beasts as well.
And then, speaking of a couple of your other former co-stars, Michael Potter and Rob Van Vuren were here in November for Slumber Party Massacre, and we had such a blast talking about that movie. That was my number one film of 2021, the remake. And did you get a chance to see it?
I did, actually, because there's just so many South Africans in it, not to be weird or anything, but I was just supporting, and I thought all the girls just did such a awesome job. And Rob was just so different from what he's ever done before, so I was really surprised by his performance. I thought he was excellent, and Michael as well. Everyone was just great, and it was just fun. It wasn't I think they had a lot of fun on set. It's a really great movie, and I think it's just you get those comedies where you call like you're just gonna have fun, no brainer. You don't have to think a lot, you can just enjoy it. This is like a comedy horror that's just for everyone. It's just really fun. It's not serious or anything. I think it was great.
Yeah, I felt like I was telling them, like, originally the original movie was supposed to be a satire on slasher films, but then Roger Corman turned it into a straight up slasher flick. But I think Danishka Esterhazy did an amazing job, and Suzanne Kiley with the script. They did exactly what the original intended to do, and then some with the male gaze this time. the female gaze, turning that around. I thought that was amazing. I thought they did a great job with that, and some of the classic scenes are comedy. And yeah, Rob, I told Rob, dude, when it comes to the two Russ Thorns, you're like the best one out of. You're better than the original. And yet he said, well,
oh wow, that's
I
cool.
told him that. I'm
Okay.
like, well, he goes, technically I cheated because I just copied the original guy, basically. So I'm like,
yeah, I listened to your podcast. It was so interesting. He said, yes, he just looked, they were saying, I think with the casting call on your podcast that, yeah, just do exactly what he does. That's all. Yeah. And he did it. So he's very, yeah, he does, right? He just has it. He just, oh my goodness, it's quite difficult sometimes to do a scene with him. I'm just kidding, not at all, but it's just he's so funny, and sometimes you're not allowed to laugh because you're in character, and you're just like, okay, please do not laugh, but then he's just so funny, and it's difficult not to laugh.
Yeah, I kind of like breaking away from horror for a second. I noticed in Van der Merwe where he's talking about the beer chicken, I could have sworn I almost saw you broke in that one scene. Like, I'm looking at you as he's talking about putting the beer up the poopole right through the chicken, and I'm looking at you because I'm thinking, oh, she's gonna crack up. Like, I see her face, she's gonna lose it.
Yeah, no, he's so funny. I can't. I just had so much fun on that movie. Yeah, he just has it. There's just some people, just they're funny. They can crack a joke better than anyone else. He's just one of those people.
And he did say he wants to do more horror films. So I hope a lot of the horror filmmakers did hear that podcast and take note that here's someone who wants to do more horror films as a result of this. So,
but I do think we need more, because I just feel like, what is that wonderful movie? It's Werewolves.
Werewolves Within?
Yes.
Oh, where is that? I just happen to have it right over here.
Oh, there you go. Werewolves Within. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that was such a fun movie. We need more, just lighter horrors as well,
I agree. I totally agree. Because the stuff you've done, the horror films you've done were more serious in nature. And I think we need to start talking about the one I felt like you broke out the most in was this little bad boy here called The Lullaby. That must have been that to me, I thought you were robbed. You should have gotten an award for that. You should have gotten some sort of accolade for the Lullaby.
Oh, thank you. It was really tough. Oh, wow. No, it's very emotional, draining, and it's not, it's not pleasant because it has to do with postpartum psychosis. And if you read actual stories, obviously when you hear stuff like that in the news, the first thing I thought before I actually knew what postpartum psychosis was, what evil woman is this? What's wrong with them? But they're going through a psychosis and they need help, and people need to identify that, and yes, but so now I'm going into how serious it is. Yeah, that movie was very serious for me. So yeah, it's just, we can't ever judge, something we don't know. And it was just so interesting for me, and a complete eye-opener, that movie.
Yeah, the truth was I actually sympathized with Chloe. I felt bad for her, and maybe because I experienced some sort of postpartum like that when I was, when some of my kids were born, like seeing that through my life. It's tough. Like, it's really tough. And
it is, because you're so tired. No, I have a kid too, and it's just, you're just so tired. And imagine if you're depressed upon, above all the sleep deprivation. It's a horror story in its own, just not getting any sleep, and baby has colic maybe. And yeah, so I learned so much from that movie. And so for me it was more a drama than a horror, but yeah, it's a horror. Obviously.
I thought more of I thought it was definitely a psychological.
Yeah, definitely.
You worked with some great cast members in this one, and like Brandon or and
very talented.
Yeah, and Thandy as well. I mean, but you got to
Tandy and Purin.
Yeah,
she's amazing, lovely actress. Yeah,
and you got
she was, and DeAndre, the young guy, he's lovely person. Yes, great to work with. And obviously Brandon is a very well-known South African actor, and he's just so good with characters and doing different stuff. And,
he is. I saw him in,
it was quite interesting to see him as
I saw him in Alistair Orr's Expiration. So that's where I saw him after the Lullaby, because I ended up I gotta say, after Triggered, I tried to get all of Alistair's movies.
Oh, cool.
And I ended
awesome.
I got all but the first one, because the first one I can't find here for anything, but luckily I saw it on streaming, so that helped. But you got to
well, yeah, Alistair is just, I think Alistair is so talented. He was so much fun to work with, and I'm really excited also to see what he does next, you know. He obviously loves horrors, and I think he's trying to give it a different approach, you know, and he's definitely an outbreak in South Africa. You know, we don't have many directors who sell to Hulu, and you know, because he sold, I think Triggered sold to Hulu and other big platforms I don't even know, but yeah.
Yeah, Triggered's on Hulu. His first one, The Unforgiving, I think is on Tubi, because that's where I saw it. So
okay.
I think that's where I saw it. But you also got to work with one of South Africa's best directors on this one, Daryl Root. If I hear that name, I know him from like way back in the day.
Oh yes, he's amazing. He's he was nominated for an Oscar, so obviously that was just like, wow, yay, go Daryl.
Yeah, he's one of those directors that do any genre. Like, he can pull any genre off perfectly.
He's just so intelligent, I tell you, Albert. He's so intelligent. He doesn't need a shot list or anything. He just remembers everything. He's just so intelligent. I just think that's why he's good. His brain.
Oh, definitely. Like, he went from Serafina, then he did a martial arts flick called To the Death. Then I fast forward years later, he did a movie with DeAndre Sung.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Oh, I saw look that. At you. You know South Africa better than I do. This is amazing.
Then the Lullaby, and then actually I just watched one because I was on YouTube. I don't know how that was on there, but it was called Alles Wat Mal Is. I hope I got my Afrikaans right.
That sounds very Dutch. That sounds good. Alles Wat Mal Is.
Yeah.
That's good. You almost said it right. Yeah.
I'm getting there.
You're doing very good.
You know I'm learning Afrikaans.
Yes, you write it very well. No, you're doing so good.
I'm learning it too.
It's very cool.
But that was another film. That was a rom-com he directed that I just saw like a couple of weeks ago, like not too long ago. That was a lot.
Yeah, that's very true. I didn't even think about that. He can do drama, comedy, horror. He's very versatile. Very.
You rarely get versatile filmmakers these days. Like, you know.
Yeah, they have their niche, you know. Yeah, like they make Blumhouse movies, or they make Marvel movies, and that's what they do.
And then of course they're gonna be known for one genre, like Takashi Miike is known for horror films, but he's done other stuff. He's done kids movies, for Christ's sake. He's done comedy, he's done drama. I mean, he's done live action, manga, and anime. But of course, everyone in the US is only known for his horror films. So it's like,
yeah, I hear you. I think it is good for them to like do different genres just to get out of it, learn a bit, you know, even if, let's say, that's his niche and that's what he's really good in. I think it's really good exercise, and maybe he can do something unique in another genre that, you know, he can pull from his horror experience, you know, even though it's not a horror film. Yeah.
And yet here you are, because you started out with like, you know, you started out doing like other types of stuff. You did like The Pro, Somer Sung. Yep, that's another one I saw.
Yeah, good. I had a small role.
Yeah, it's small, but your intro scene was kind of like, you know, kind of funny, because it's just like the guy popped up like half naked on Skype, and you're just like startled. I do remember that.
Yeah. No, that's true. That was really fun too. And we went to Mozambique, so it's like this beautiful country in Africa. And it's just so rural, you know, it's in the middle of nowhere. And it was really fun to work on. But yeah, no, I want to know, Albert, because obviously because I haven't really been, you know, this year, like, tell me, what are the best horror films this year? Because obviously Chainsaw Man, tell me. Like,
definitely. For those of you that want to know, we talked about the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre right before we started recording, and we both agreed it was really, we both really liked it. I haven't seen Scream yet, although I'm hearing it's actually pretty good. The new Scream movie is
I haven't too. Yeah, because it's still in cinema, so
yeah,
we should go watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, what else is coming? Oh man, there's quite a few horror films coming out. Trying to think, what else? I did see Halloween Kills. I liked it for what it was, for what they did. I feel it is a true middle piece of the trilogy. You know.
Yeah. No,
And,
definitely. I hear you.
and of course, Slumber Party Massacre, which South African movie, South
Yay.
Africa, and
Yeah.
that was my number one film of the year of 2021. World Film Geek Awards, gave 5 World Film Geek Awards actually. Best film, best horror film. Hannah Gannara definitely deserved her female lead performance.
Yeah. Amazing.
Rob earned his best supporting actor role for playing that was the best iteration of Russ Thorne. I don't think seriously they didn't get a better actor. They couldn't have found a better actor than Rob to play that role.
Well, that's so cool, that it just worked out, because listening at your podcast, he obviously went for another audition, so they could have maybe not seen that he could play, that role. So I think that's really cool that it worked out that way.
Yeah.
Because I don't see, there isn't someone else like Rob in South Africa I can think of now, like, yes, there's other comedians, yes, there's other actors, but he's pretty unique, I think. Yeah.
He is, and and just so everyone who's listening to this knows, we're bringing Rob back later this year for a little career retrospective on him, and
wonderful. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
We might have to have you on just to appear like, hey, Rob, look who's here. And you just like pop up. We might have to have that happen. Michael Potter was also your co-star from Triggered. He was also in Slumber Party Massacre. He had some fun stories to tell also, as you probably heard.
Mm-hmm.
And Cameron Scott, your co-star in Triggered, he actually was offered to read for the role of that Michael got, but he's like, I didn't really feel the film. So, and when I told Michael that, he was like, why is it Cameron always tries to get the roles I'm trying to go for? It's always like me and him. I'm like, because you guys are probably the youngest out of it. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I just think something about Michael, he's a natural talent, because obviously he's a lawyer and he's an actor. It's just insane how talented he is and how natural he is on screen. He looks great on screen. I think he's got a great career ahead of him as well. I think South Africa is such a great place to film. So, especially horror films, it doesn't need as much budget. Obviously, if you want special effects, and visual effects and stuff, that's what maybe costs. But you don't have to have an A-list in your film to make a great, horror film.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what they did with Slumber Party. Obviously, those actors are famous in South Africa, but I mean, to the world, to America,
they're just like new, raise it.
Well, new young talents.
Well, I think Reese, Tiana, and Milo, I think this was like their first film, so to them, it was like, but they did such a great job. They made such great debuts with this film.
Yes, and I think they have such bright futures ahead of them. So it's very exciting as a South African, to see other South Africans shine. It's just, I don't know, it's really cool. And
I have to say this. All right, Hollywood, we've heard the stories of Hollywood and their actors. Some actors are divas and they give fans attitude. I'm gonna tell you from my experience, I've talked with a lot of South African actors, and I gotta say, you guys are the nicest bunch I've ever got to talk to. And if it was up to, like, I would champion the South African film industry if I would want to be their champion and just like keep promoting their films, because they make such great films over there. I'm not joking, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, thank you, Ovid. No, it's really cool. No, actually, we think you're very friendly, because I just feel like, we think Americans, I'm going to say, are very friendly, because it's just, we definitely, because I lived in America for 5 years. I've been living in North America now. I haven't lived in South Africa for the past 5 years. And it's just like, they're definitely louder than us, in general. I'm stereotyping now, but it's just like, and sometimes like you would stand in line, and this is totally off topic, and then people would just start talking to you. And I'm like, wow, this is so friendly. This is not something we do. We do not talk when, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I think Americans are really friendly, just stereotyping here. Not all of them, but no, you're very friendly. And, all of my Triggered friends have obviously, just absolutely loved being on your podcast, and you know, just all your support and all the coolest stuff you've like drawn, and you know, it's just very much appreciated. Thank you so much for, you know, standing up for South African cinema and checking out our movies that are in a different language, Afrikaans, which is such a small language. And yeah, we really appreciate it.
Yeah. And you got fans over here too in my family. You know, my mom is like now a huge fan of South African films. I think she secretly tries to catch them on Netflix whenever she can, but then the ones I find, I'm like, Mom, check this one out, and she ends up watching them. She's like, they're really good. They're good movies.
Oh, that's
like,
so cool.
And all right, let's talk about Triggered, and you're talking about all the night shoots. I mean, was that really stressful in terms of, but I have a feeling you got along with the cast. I mean, you got along with the cast really well. I mean, you couldn't have found a better group than this. I think they all deserve praise. Let's start Liesel, Steven, Russell, Kayla, Paige, Cameron, Michael, Sean, Craig, you, Soraya. You all deserve the props because you guys did such a great job on this movie.
Oh wow, no, that's so lovely to hear, and it's just, yeah, that's much appreciated. I mean, it was a small budget film, you know, so it's not like we had luxury of doing our lines over and over again. And also, yeah, it was, for me, the toughest was not starting the night, but if we get to that last hour before the sun comes up, but we need to shoot it, and sometimes then you still have all of your lines to say, but then you're so tired by that point, you know. But I think that was important for me, just to know my lines, because I don't want to, fumble and like forget my lines or anything. And, because I just think the crew they work so hard. Like actors work very hard, I'm not saying that, but the crew members are on set 24/7 because they're holding the boom, to record sound. The camera guy is holding the camera. We get to rest in between. Yes, I think it's got another emotional impact on actors, especially horrors, because you need to scream, be scared, and there has to be authenticity there, so emotionally it takes a lot from you, which then eventually makes you tired. But physically the crew are there the whole time, so I think it's so important for young actors, like, know your lines. That's the number one thing you need to do.
Yeah, what's even great is even though this is a South African movie, you all did American accents. And
yeah
I think the one, when I heard yours, and then I actually showed one of my coworkers the clip of you talking about it's on Movie Clips, how Mr. Peterson, how when Shay was killed, PJ got the time, and I showed my coworker this, and I'm like, well, you were like, oh, that's pretty cool. I go, yeah, that's not her actual accent. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah. So I actually played our interview from November, and their mouths dropped when they heard your actual accent. They were like, are you serious? I go, yeah, like that's how good of actors they are. They can actually pull off the American accents very well.
Why, thank you. Now I feel like I need to talk with my American accent, because I haven't for a while,
Well, my New York accent might have to come back. That's where I'm originally from, so that might come back in little portions too. So
coffee, yeah, you need to drink some coffee, right? No.
Go to New York.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah. No, New York, that's really cool. That's such an iconic place to grow up in. Wow, that's really, really nice.
I'm from like right above the big city, and like 35 minutes north, so it's like this, and I'm from a small town too, so I know what it's like. But now let's talk about the Hex, because this was the first film you directed, and you also wrote it.
Yeah.
So where did this come from? Like, where did the idea of this come from?
Yeah, I made a short film with Coco Lloyd. She's a producer on the film, and she's the lead in the film. And yeah, we thought, why not make a full-length film, a feature film, and we did. I think it was really, really hard work. I have so much respect for other filmmakers. even now I know, like, even if it's a film that gets 0 on Rotten Tomatoes or something, I'm like, they made a film, it's hard work, you know, like they did it, they finished it. It's just putting everything together is crazy. It's what goes into a film is really, really mind-blowing, and I learned so much from it. I definitely would have wanted to change a lot of things, but you know what? It was my first movie. We kept it really low budget. We pulled in a lot of favors to get a great camera, and you know, and yeah. So I wouldn't change anything. I think, you know, the cast were absolutely terrific. I loved all of them, and yeah, it was definitely an experience, and kudos to anyone who's ever, you know, made a film before. Even if it's a short film, I know it's hard work, and congratulations.
Well, yeah, and you deserved it. I mean, I ended up giving you your first award. That's what you told me.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was so cool. Thank you.
Because
I really appreciate it.
I saw the Hex twice. I saw it, I rented it, and then I bought it, and then I still cringe at the nail scene, and
with Marie,
Marie, that was just like, I was just like, oh, so cringeworthy. Oh my god, I'm granted, I could take someone getting their throat slashed, I could take someone getting bitten, but when I see stuff like really like that, I don't know why, my mind just sets like, you know. But,
oh, that's funny. Yeah, and like, oh yeah, the smallest stuff, like, just, I hear what you're saying. When someone gets, you know, it's always like so gross when someone pulls out their teeth, or like their nail gets stuck somewhere, or what is that film? It was, now I can't really think about film names today, I'm so sorry.
no, you're fine.
Was it Ready or Not?
Yeah, about the one with the bride and
yes, when she was climbing out the well or something, she put her hand into some, I don't know, just like a nail through, you know, through his little bones. I'm like, oh, that's just disgusting, because that feels a little bit more, I think, realistic in a way. Where, of course, you know, when you lose your head, you're not going to feel anything. You know, you're going to be instantly dead. So yeah,
exactly. just like in Texas Chainsaw Part 3, where the girl gets her hands nailed to the chair. I felt that. I'm like, oh
yeah, she can't pull it out. No, it's terrible.
Right away. But yeah, I was like, oh my god, stuff like that. I don't know why I cringe at that. But yeah, the Hex was really good, and I like the story about the whole thing with the witch doctor, and you know, also played by Marie, which I don't think anyone realized that. And I gotta ask this, because I'm looking at the cover right now of this DVD. Is this you on the cover? Because that kind of looks like.
Well, no, it's not. But yeah.
Okay, I thought I saw that. I'm thinking, there's no way.
No, that's the little girl. That's actually a little girl. So maybe I'm gonna tell her she looks like my sister. So
yeah, I was like, see that? I'm like, no, that's not Reina. No way. No, that can't be. Kind of does. So I was like, holy cow.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just, and I'm also like, it's really cool to see how, because this was the first feature, you know, leads for Marie and Coco, and they're just blooming. They're doing very good. Like, Coco played in Euphoria now, and she played in, she's going to play series regular in some of Fox's, you know, I can't say which one because it's, I don't know, but yeah, it's a TV series, and you know, a series regular is really a big deal, and that's so cool.
Hungani was in Ring of Beasts with Cameron, so that worked out well.
Yeah, and then Ghani is making his own films with his wife now, so that is really, really awesome. And obviously Chris Yafta, he always does well. You know, he's a model actor, so he's an ambassador for this, and he's just such a friendly and energetic person.
Oh, he was, and thanks to you, he was our very first podcast guest. So that was a blast talking to him about South African cinema. Like, I had so much fun with him. He was so elated with it, and you know, I think you all were shocked that I ended up finding out more about South African cinema than you guys.
Oh, for sure, you know more than us, so it's really cool.
I don't know how is that possible, but then again, I'm like, well, I don't know how old you guys are now, but I'm already in my 40s, so it's like,
Well, I think Cameron and them, to be honest, are in their
Cameron's
20s, but
Cameron
I'm
and
in my 30s, so I am almost there. Still a little bit to go, but yeah.
okay. Yeah, I'm pushing mid-40s. I just turned 43 a few weeks ago, so or last month.
Yes, still young. I mean, 40s is the new 30s, 30s is the new 20s. Sorry for anyone else who that thinks differently.
Yeah, like I didn't even know about this apartheid cinema, you know, the whole what they call B scheme. I didn't know anything about this till like just a couple of years ago. And I don't know what triggered that. It could have been triggered. I don't know. Could have, but I was like, I gotta watch ever since Triggered, I'm like, I gotta watch more South African films, man. Cause I'm like, if it's this good, man, there's gotta be bound to be more. And you know, Alistair made some good films. Expiration, Indigenous, House on Willow Street. Oh my, like that movie.
Yeah, he's on a next level in South Africa for us. He's just so great. He's just definitely I can see him doing a lot more, obviously, and I'd love to see him do a lot more. What else? No, we were jumping. I wanted to say, now I can't remember. You know, when you wanted to say something,
you want to say
like,
something, you forget, and then you're like, okay, I want to talk about, like, what was I going to talk about? And I can't. Yeah. But
it goes like that. I wanted to say Marie, actually, who produced The Hacks, like she's in some very big competition now as a producer, having another film for another writer in Berlin. It's and everyone's just doing so well, and it's just so cool to see. And yeah,
and I love the fact that they're all connected to you somehow. Like seriously, like everyone, like all these.
No, I'm just marking myself on them because I know they're so talented.
Yeah, no, you're. I feel like you're like one of the biggest names now over there in South Africa, even though you live in the U.S. because you've done so much for these young people and all this hard work you've done. I mean, I truly think that's what this is exactly why I had you become in the Hall of Fame last year, because you know I feel like you were one of the most dedicated actresses I've ever seen, and now that you delved into filmmaking, I felt like you had to earn something for this. You deserved something for this. So
I'm going to share something with you that's really going to shock you. No, I'm just kidding. So in South Africa, people don't really watch horror films.
Yeah,
Did you think that?
Yeah, that's a little crazy.
So I wouldn't say like, you know, the Lullaby wasn't really, because even the theaters were like, no, you know, this is too much for them. They can't show it, you know, but they will, which is strange. You know, they won't support. I'm not saying they won't support, but they won't support local productions. But then they'll show, you know, Conjuring and, you know, all the big Blumhouse movies, but they're not even giving. So we're actually just so excited that it's gone to, you know, America, South America, you know, where people actually
appreciate
support,
it.
and appreciate indie horror films, where I still feel like the South African audience, I think I was one of them. I was like, no, I want to watch American films. I don't want to watch South African films, you know. It's just now I'm like, I want to see all the South African films because I miss home, and I'm like, oh, they are really good, you know, like you were saying, they're different, and yes, they have the same pattern or anything, but they're still different for me. Yeah.
And you've had your share of being in American films. Believe it or not, beginning of February, I saw Detour for the first time, and you were in that small. You know, it was a small role. Like,
small.
You were in The Empty Man. That's another one that you're in.
Quick role, but it was just so cool to be a part of it. And James Batch Dale, who plays the lead, is such an awesome person, and he was just so humble.
You're even in the trailer for like a split second, so it's just like
and the director, I think he's actually now, I absolutely I really liked David Pryor. He was just also very down to earth to work with. And what did he do now? He worked on a Netflix horror series for Guillermo del Toro. So he's one of those directors, you know. He's just he did The Empty Man. Before that, he did more like docu stuff, and he's a breakthrough talent, and he's very smart, and he's got a unique vision. So I think we'll see a lot of cool stuff from him as well.
Yeah, I'm really shocked at I'm really that does surprise me that a lot of South Africans don't support their local stuff. I mean, I feel like they're missing out on so much, and I'm glad that we do get that here. I mean, I for one love South African films. I mean, I love films from all over the world, but like I had to recently move, like I had to pick up like what places do I want to go to like down the road. Of course, my number one is Tokyo, Japan, but now number two is like South Africa. Like I gotta go to South Africa someday.
Oh, you have to. Cape Town, so beautiful, and your US dollar will go a lot further. It's just because the exchange rate. It's like I don't know what the exact exchange rate is, but I think it's like 13 rands for a dollar, so it kind of feels like everything's 13 times cheaper there.
Wow.
Like staying in a hotel, going there.
Yeah, I'm definitely that's on my 5-year plan now. I'm officially putting that on my 5-year plan now. Okay.
Awesome.
So for sure. Oh my God, this was a great time. I am so honored to have talked with you today about like your horror career and all this stuff. And oh my God. Now, you recently wrote a film that just went into production. We all know the title Flesh, and we know who's in it now. We know Danielle Harris is in it, Serena Vincent. I caught up on some of the news there, and that's amazing that you got to write a film that's going to be coming out soon once again. And I, for one, am definitely looking forward to it. And I can't wait to find out what this movie's about and check it out for myself. And I think that must be pretty exciting. And I also believe you now gone to you're doing post-production work now on the side. So that must be that. I'm serious. What is it you cannot do? Because
No, I want to work from home, and I absolutely love post-production. So no, I'm enjoying it so much. I think it's just like with the the pandemic and everything changed so much, and now I see, I can work from home, and if you have kids and stuff, it's just so much easier than going on shoots for 2 months or a month even. It's just I will definitely get back to it, but I don't think now in my career I would love to. I have little kids, so I have a little kid. I'm saying little kids. You have, lovely children as well, so you would know how important it is to be involved in their lives.
I got teenagers, so yeah, it's a little more difficult on my. Well, just wait till your kid becomes a teenager.
Oh really? No, I think I've got a terrible 2-year-old. He's not terrible. He's lovely, but I mean, he throws those tantrums where his whole body like goes on the floor and he's screaming, and I'm like, I don't know what you want. I'm so sorry.
Don't worry. He'll outgrow it. Believe me, he will.
That's good.
I'm kind of glad I got teenagers now. I mean, granted, I now it's like they're being as smart alecky as I can be, but just around them, But I'm kind of blessed that they're like I got 2 teenagers. I'm gonna have my 3rd teenager by next year, and then my youngest.
Awesome.
My youngest one will hit double digits this June. So, 4 kids. It was a lot at first, but once you get used to it, this is like, and I'm glad the 3 older kids are big horror fans now too. But
of course, look at their dad having fun. It's just, I think it's such a fun genre, but if you're not introduced to it, I get why it could be something you couldn't like, if you're never introduced to it properly. Or I did.
Yeah.
For me, it's like films that take you out of reality. It just takes you from reality and takes you on this weird, twisted journey, and just have fun watching it.
All right, so let me ask you this, because I know you mentioned those, but what was like your very first horror film that you ever watched, or do you know offhand? Do you remember what it was?
Wow, I must have been very, very little. Well, I don't know if this is the first horror film I watched, but I remember Chucky when I was very small, and I remember it, like the older one, and I remember What Lies Beneath really shocked me. I think I was young when I watched that too, but those are the ones I can remember as a kid. I don't know which one I watched first. So which one what was your first one that you watched?
Good question. Well, I remember when I was like 5, we only had one TV in the apartment I was in. So we used to watch Friday the 13th, and my mom would cover my eyes every time Jason was about to kill someone. So that kind of was a bad experience. But I'd say my first real horror film, I was 6 years old. We went to my upstairs neighbor because they invited the whole bunch of us, like my brothers and I and some of our friends. We saw Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. And I was like this was just came out on video. I was 6 years old. And when the scene where Freddy comes out of the guy's body, I wasn't like freaked out or anything. I thought it was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So but I didn't tell anyone that. I think I didn't want anyone to see that I had a morbid side at 6 years old. And then I got into and then a year later,
this is cool.
a year later, my parents used to rent videos every weekend. And I remember one time they brought in Class of Nukem High from Trauma. And I was 7, and I remember the scene where the creature finally comes out and he busts his claw through the girl's face, the evil girl's face, and I was like, "That's the coolest thing ever!" Like that, I didn't want to say anything now, but ironically, my mom would not let me watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I'm going, "When you let me watch Class Nukem High, you wouldn't let me watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre." Finally, at 12 years old, I finally got to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and to this day, that is my all-time favorite horror movie.
Because you needed to wait for that. I think the anticipation and everything helped. You're like, I need to see this film, and then finally you did, and you're like, yes, this is the coolest movie I've ever seen. That's
exactly what it was.
My expectations were, this is amazing. So
yeah. My oldest daughter, her favorite is, I believe it's Us. That's what she told me. That's her favorite horror film right now.
It's a great one.
Yep. My 12-year-old is Sleepaway Camp. We introduced her to Sleepaway Camp, and she's like, this is my favorite. I showed her the sequels, and she's just like, eh.
Just the original.
2 and 3. She's like, okay, yeah, the original's better. And then before the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I showed my 12-year-old the original. We watched it together, and she's like, why did people make such a big deal out of this movie? It's not that bloody. Like, what was the big deal? And then my oldest saw it 2 weeks before the new one, and she goes, all right, Dad, I like bloody movies, but this is how do I put this? It was disturbing. Okay. But she still liked it. So it's like, okay.
That's funny. This was disturbing. That's so cute. Okay.
Well, I got a real funny anecdote about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm going to share this. I shared this with a few friends. I'm going to share this with you. But when I was a film studies major, because that's where I got my degree in.
Awesome.
I had this great mentor, and if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. Like, I don't know what I'd be doing. But I had bought the DVD of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I was so excited. So my mentor asked me, can you bring it to class and I'll lend it to me for a week? So like, okay, fine. I was like, oh yeah. So I gave her the DVD. A week passed. We had next class. So I was like, all right, did you like the movie? I had to turn it off. I'm like, okay, where did you turn it off? 7 minutes into the movie. I go, what scene? She goes, oh, when Franklin's talking about the slaughterhouse and they're passing all the cows. I just was like, what? She goes, well, the whole thing about cannibalism, it got to my head and I couldn't watch it. So then she came back to DVD. I was like, okay. One of my classmates asked me to borrow the DVD. She goes, oh, is that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? I go, yeah. She goes, can I borrow it? Because I've never seen it. I kind of heard a lot of stuff about it. I was like, all right. So I lent it to my classmate. A week passes by. All right, what'd you think of it? I had to turn it off. I was like, okay, where'd you turn it off? The scene where Franklin talked about the slaughterhouse and they passed me. And I just put my hand in my head. I'm like, you did not just say that.
Oh, wow.
Like, why? I'm like, did you know Dr. Knockhamson said the same thing to me just last week? You had
That's
to turn off.
So weird. That's so weird. Wow.
And I'm like, what? It was like, why? like really? Like, okay. I accepted it, but I thought it was the funniest thing ever that they turned it off at the very same scene. And
that is so strange. Like triggered something in both of them and they just couldn't watch it on. That's so strange.
Yeah. But hands down, Leatherface is one. I actually got a couple of Leatherface action figures way up there. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I got a lot of I got more horror stuff, like getting more horror stuff now. I got like Pennywise stuff. I got the Mandy Funko Pops. Yeah, I'm like, man, I think horror's become like my new favorite, like ultimate genre. Like, I grew up watching kung fu movies, and here I am now, like watching more horror than I'm watching that stuff now. I'm like, what's
But
going on?
are there still so many kung fu movies? You know, like I think it's very fun too. But
They're
there's
waning.
more horrors,
It's a
right?
yeah. I feel like martial arts films are like they're kind of like they're on life support right now. Like, I mean, you got the good ones; they're still there, but I feel like the compared to horror, it's becoming a dying genre. But what I like about the horror films is like I said, you all are awesome, and because I've talked to other horror actors and filmmakers, and I always remember this. There's this one I talked to, Spooky Dan Walker. He directed the horror comedy Sleigh Bells, and he told me, he goes, I live within 10 miles of all these other horror film directors, like Adam Green and Tim Sullivan. I live like within 10 miles of these guys. We get together for lunch like every so often. He goes, this is fact. The horror film community is one of like we treat each other like family.
Yeah.
And they really did. I could see it. Like they all work on each other's projects. It reminds me of the South African film industry. You all work on like so many projects together. I mean, it might sound ridiculous, but it means a lot. I feel like it's a lot of. I think it's amazing, quite frankly.
Yeah, it is. No, I agree. That's the thing with the horror film community. It's with the Lullaby, it was such a great introduction to the American, horror film community. Yes, you have your friends overseas as well and everything, but yeah, you guys have really established a good floor for it, and very supportive and the sweetest people. You would imagine like horror fans are like, not as sweet and friendly as the people who are actually behind it.
Exactly. Like I actually spoke with just recently. I spoke with Barbara Crampton just a few weeks ago for a horror film she did, a new one, where she had a small role, but she's like the nicest person, like one of the nicest people you ever meet. Bill Moseley is also Bill Moseley's like he's God to me because of his role in Texas Chainsaw 2. He's like, to me, he's like God, and to get to talk to him a few years ago was like, I felt like it was such an honor to talk to him when he did Three from Hell. Felissa Rose from Sleepaway Camp, she was so amazing to talk to, and I remember telling her how my daughter loves Sleepaway Camp, and she's like, she was so delighted to hear that. And it's like, every time I talk to a horror film star or filmmaker, they see I got that appreciation and how amazing they are.
That's so cool. No, it's really true, and it's just amazing to hear that, no matter where the filmmaker or anyone who's like in the horror film community are, they're supportive, and yeah, we all want to see unique horror films, and we will support each other, and hopefully 1 out of 1,000 is a breakout, like let's say, what's the film that did so well? Paranormal Activity, obviously, and Blair Witch Project. That's obviously crazy how well they did, like that would be really cool if we see something like that again, something that's made on a no budget and just goes crazy.
Yep. I remember Sharknado did the same thing, even though it was the most ridiculous movie. But thanks to Mia Farrow's little tweet back then, it's just like it became this box office, like this TV phenomenon, and people couldn't get enough of that. And we had to go through 6 films altogether, but still, I mean, just one little word of mouth came about with that movie, and everything just went crazy. And yeah, I was like, I wanted to be Triggered's champion. I was like, I want to promote Triggered as much as possible when I first saw it, because it was like people need to see this movie. It's that good,
Oh, that's cool. No, thank you. Obviously, a lot of your friends watched it, and that's so appreciated, and that's so cool. And it's, you don't have to do that, but you do, and that's so that's selfless of you to, like, just giving so much of your energy and time to support other filmmakers. It's really, really, really great. It's remarkable.
Yeah, I think I've seen Triggered like 40 times already. Literally, I'm not joking.
Much more than I have, so 10 times more.
Well, you even told me you don't really watch yourself on screen because you kind of, I don't know, like you got nerves or something. I remember you telling me that. Like,
I just don't like seeing myself on screen, because I know it's me and I'm like, you could have done better there, oh, I know you're lying because you were tired, I can see myself. I'm like, oh, you don't mean those words, I just know. Yeah, I don't know. Some people, I think it's good. You have to watch it to see what you can do better. I'll watch it, but it's not always pleasant to see yourself. We are our own worst critics. So
right. And
Mhm.
we do have to mention this because I thought I did catch it's on Netflix. We need to talk about Z Nation and your role there because you had such a fun role in that series as
Yeah.
what was that like, and like how much fun was it fun for you, like?
Yeah, that was so what was the name again? I can't even remember. Today I'm just kind of forgetting everything. But yeah, the news anchor, she was just so much fun to portray. She was kind of Carly McFadden. There we go. Thank you. And she was so fun. It was kind of like it was a perfect little. I felt like kind of like Cinderella in a zombie, environment, because my shoe fell off and I had to run and I had this dress on and it was just crazy. And that was by far one of the funnest things I've worked on in my life. I think it's thanks to the director, it's only as good as the person who leads it. Dan Merchant, he's also just incredible to work with, and he made it fun. And a lot of the things that because I'm a very serious person, and he would just make it a lot lighter. And yeah, that was amazing. I actually funny story, on my first take I was running on those high heels, and it's very high and I never wear high heels, and I snapped my ankle. So I did the whole season with a bad foot, basically.
Oh,
With a torn ligament. So yeah, that was
ouch.
yeah.
That's dedication. Like if you go through that, I tell people they do something like that that's unexpected but still persevere through it. That's true dedication to their art. And like Cameron's like accident prone. He told me all the accidents he had on Ring of Beasts, and I'm like, dude, you're just dedicated. Just look at it that way. Like you do something, like you're dedicated, and you don't seem like a serious person. Honestly, you really don't. You
No,
don't.
no, I mean, like, I
Oh,
thought the character was more like, a
yeah.
certain way. I guess I just mean, like, I'm not like Rob, but like I can just play comedy and it just, comes naturally. It's just for me, like Carly McFadden, I didn't mean anything, comedical. For me, it was just so serious. I'm
Yeah.
this news anchor and I want to be amazing, and that's how he wanted me to play it. But there were moments it was like, oh, a little bit lighter, a little bit this, and yeah, it was just so much fun to work with. Definitely want to work with him again. So please, 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 Dan, if you hear me, love to work with you again.
Yeah, I feel like you want to work with anyone you work with again. Like,
Oh, for sure. Like
I
Alistair, Daryl, yeah, all of them.
I mean,
Cameron, Michael, yeah.
yeah. I definitely would love to see you and Liesel reunite on a movie, because I like the fact that when she did Firm Request, she played like the evil entity of that movie, but yet in Trigger here she is as one of the good guys, and and I like she and you had such, like, you had a great chemistry together in your scenes. I
Yeah,
feel
she
like
has such a great range, I think, except, but exactly from what you were saying, she can play this, she can play that. And above it, she looks like a mermaid, she's got this blue eyes, long red brown hair. And yeah,
it's like
she's
it's
quite
like
something.
you and her like do so much, and I question, like, what is it you guys can't do together? Because she literally does everything. Like,
Yeah,
she's
she makes clothes, and
she's a singer, she's a songwriter, she's
she's
like,
a psychologist as well. So
yeah, I'm like, holy cow, like where does she get when does she have time? That's the question.
no, but I think she's very specific, I think she's very specific I think I can't talk, on her behalf, but I think that she'll take a break from acting, and focus on songwriting, and
Yeah,
she'll
yeah,
focus on, you know what I mean? It's not like
she does
she's
it all at
only
once. Yeah, she
yeah.
doesn't want to overwhelm herself, and so yeah, I could see that. But
Yeah.
one
I
day
just
I
did you
gotta get
see
her
she's
on.
actually making an album? I think
Yeah.
she's recording. I can't wait for her own
Oh, I can't
recording, her
either. Like I've
album.
heard some of
I'm
her
gonna buy
songs.
it like
Yeah, I've heard some of her
immediately.
songs. Like I gotta get her on here one of these days. Like get her on the podcast. Just to go like do her own like career retrospective thing because she's very multi-talented too, and like I can't wait to see and what else she's got up her sleeve, like whether it's music or acting. I think she's a great talent as well.
Yeah, she's incredible. I have to say, like, just writing those songs and the way she acted, she's definitely head girl. You know what I mean? She's like she was the head girl. I know my character Ryan was more of the head girl, you know, in the story, but Liesel's actually the head girl of the
Well,
group.
yeah,
So yeah.
And I did say that they should do a prequel to this where it shows you guys in high school and introduce Caleb. Like I brought that up. Like maybe I should write that. Maybe I should come up with something like that and pitch it. Maybe I should delve into screenwriting again and start, get back into screenwriting. So I've been wanting to do that for a while now. So I was thinking,
do it. You have
what would be
so much experience.
what would be the perfect project to like start my? Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. That's gonna be on my
pitch it to Alistair. I think that's an awesome idea.
Yeah, definitely. So I definitely gotta do that. But yeah, this was an amazing chat. I feel like this was a long time in the making. I've been wanting to do this Zoom chat with you for a while now, and here we finally did it, and I've had a blast, like hands down. This was so much fun.
Thank you, Albert. No, I had so much fun. It's always great to chat with you, and I think we've become good friends, and it's just awesome. And yeah, it's really fun topics to talk about, and we like similar stuff, so it's very cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and you're hands down, you got an awesome family, and man, I can't wait to see more of your stuff. I know I think Flesh is in post-production right now, the one you co-wrote with Chris McGowan.
So I was just the co-writer on that. So actually I'm not sure what's going on at the moment. I'm too tied up in post-production on this show I'm working on at the moment, but I'll check in there, I guess. I don't want to pressure.
You're just keeping busy. That's all you're doing right now.
Yeah, there's nothing more I can do over there. So yeah.
So that's cool though. I mean, you really got just keeping busy and all that, but that's awesome. But anyway, so this is only the first installment of the Ladies of Horror special, and we're going to try to get more guests on here. We got a few on our plate soon that that have been contacted, so we're hoping to get them on here. But this has been an amazing chat. Everyone should check out the Lullaby, Triggered, and the Hex, whether it's on streaming, get the DVDs, do what you got to do to see these movies, because Reine did an amazing job both in front and behind the cameras here, and she's definitely a lady of horror that definitely needs to get her name out there, and I think she did a great job. And Reine, you're an amazing talent. Thank you so much for taking your time to talk about all your horror films and then some. So thank you so much.
No, thank you, Albert. It's you're just an amazing person, and you obviously have an incredible family too supporting you. And yeah, thank you so much for just being very, very kind and very supportive, and I can't thank you enough. And I'm going to be supportive. I'm going to continue to be supportive of your podcast and listen. And yeah, I'm enjoying it so much.
And I'm going to keep supporting all your stuff that you're doing as well. So it evens out. Anyway, everyone, check out WorldFilmGeek.com for reviews, the latest interviews, features, and also go to Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Acast, Breaker, and Stitcher for the World Film Geek podcast. Check out our movies that need more love every Friday, and then check out the Ladies of Horror special throughout March for Women's History Month. So everyone, I hope you take care and enjoy your day.